Welcome to the first, and we trust probably not the last, Soul Screen Film Festival here at USC. This is an opportunity to view and talk about some films that touch on topics of spirituality and religion. Thank you both, number one, for sharing these films with us and for bringing on the emotions that have come with them. Certainly for me, both tearjerkers. No, it's just wet eyes, that's all. Sorry. Anyway, first of all, I thought it would be interesting just to explore spirituality, how that your own spirituality manifested in these films. Just get personal. What about your own spiritual journeys is manifested or shown in these films? Go, Dave.
Jim and I go to the same church, which is a
disclaimer.
pretty left-wing, kind of open and affirming Congregationalist church. And we're in between ministers right now, so we all sort of take turns at the pulpit. And I had a turn a few months ago, and I only had one sermon, so I've already given it. But it was basically about the Holy Spirit, I guess, in all of us, and how it affects, affects you and affects people around you, and the God in all of us, I guess. And now I didn't write this film. My friend Ed Simpson wrote it. But go ahead.
Can you identify yourself?
I'm David Wells, and I produced Elephant Size, and I was also in the movie. And the man that wrote it, I went to undergraduate and graduate school with. And I think he's written a lot of plays. This is the first feature, but he's published in Samuel French. He's probably got, I don't know, 7 or 8 plays that are done all over the country. And he writes, most of his plays in this film take place in this mythical town in Pennsylvania. Can't remember the name of it right now, but he writes a lot about this small town and people connecting and helping each other, and he has a real affinity for those people, and I think it comes through in his films, and it's we're all sort of in this together, and whatever spirit there is, I think, is in all of us. And in Elephant Size, you do feel things from other people, or whether you hear it, where the sighs come from miles and miles. And I think that there is an affinity for people, and they're drawn to each other, and they help each other. And that's, I think, sort of my philosophy or my belief system. I think it comes through in the film.
Justin.
Justin Baldoni. The last 2 films were mine, were ours. I'm a Baha'i, which is my faith. And as a Baha'i, we just really believe we're all one. One planet, one people, one God. And the purpose of our lives are really to be of service and to be meek and lowly and to kind of give back. There's a quote in the Baha'i writing that says, essentially, God talking to man, that I engage you to be to take an occupation, and that occupation may be your service, and that service is considered worship as well. So, for me, faith is really what drives kind of everything that I do. There's another quote by Baha'u'llah, who is the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. He says, "I've made death a messenger of joy to thee, wherefore why dost thou grieve?" Which is the backbone of what My Last Days is all about, because I wanted to take a taboo topic and put a spin on it and show it in an inspiring and positive way. And a big part of what the Baha'is deal with and learn a lot about is detachment. And one of the things I notice with people that are dying is they're kind of forced to be detached. And it's kind of this thing where we kind of spend our lives, you know, attached to everything. We're like sticky tape, and we just pick up everything wherever we go. And then you find out you're dying, and you really don't have a choice. You have to let go of the attachment to money, and the attachment to power, and the attachment to having nice things and relationships, because eventually it all goes away. And it was a really interesting concept to see how that really plays out with people as they're getting nearer and closer to death. And what we found was very simple and very close to what my faith says, which is it's actually a joyous thing in a lot of ways. You kind of become clean, and you're not attached to as many things. And there's this beautiful spirit that you find in people that are getting closer to death. So we wanted to explore it in a really beautiful and inspiring way that was kind of, you know, it was kind of open to all the religions, because that's another thing that we believe in, is that we believe all the religions are one. So we didn't like put a, you know, Christian, Jew, Muslim, Baha'i theme on each of them. We just kind of made them, you know, open to whatever it is that each person believed. And it resulted in this beautiful series of people that believe all these different things, but are all believing in the same thing at the same time. So,
Question. Now that you've shared a bit about your spirituality, how did your spirituality inform your artistic choices in these films that we've seen today? Any moments in the production of these films where you just had a revelation or a message, an expression of your own heart and soul that came out in that artistic choice?
truthfully, I mean, these films for me, I've been working on My Last Days since this time last year, pretty much. And it's been, you know, as everyone knows, there's not a whole lot of money in YouTube and things like that. And, you know, YouTube shows are only like 5 or 6 minutes, and we're turning in 20-minute pieces. So it's been a passion, love thing for me. That's been driven by spirituality, of course, and my connection. But what I can tell you is the way that we approach all of these is, you know, there's me, you know, 2 of my partners are Muslim, you know, we have 2 atheists, a sound guy, you know, and we have a Christian, my girlfriend who is now Baha'i. All of these, it's like we're like a melting pot of a crew. And we come into these situations, and there's just so much love. And I know that one of the things that's kind of reinforced my belief in God throughout this process has been seeing the transformation that it's been having on my crew, but also on the families. Because you come in, you give somebody a hug, you really connect with them, and you start to see like people open up, and then you start to see, you know, these miracles happen. Like, you know, I remember one time we were in a bar. This is one moment. We were in a bar shooting a woman named Julie, who has cancer. And her whole story is about helping people. So she's like, you know what, if I'm going to have cancer, if I'm going to die, I'm going to help as many people as I can. I'm going to go down fighting. And I'm just going to just be out there, and I'm going to change the world. And people, you know, she says people are drawn to her because she helps them. So we're in this bar, and Julie's in her, you know, late 40s. She's got a husband and like 5 children. And we're with you know, we have our 2 atheists, and we're always having these spiritual conversations about, you know, God, and is there or isn't there, and, you know, science and religion, and all of these interesting topics. And a lot of us don't even drink. So normally after a long day being around death, you go and you have a drink at the bar, and most of us don't drink. So we're at this bar, and her husband comes up, and she goes, hey, Julie, you should go talk to this guy. His wife's got cancer. Got 5 kids. And Julie also just went back to college and got her degree. And he goes, and his wife's going back to college to get her degree, and she's terminal. She's got the same cancer as you. You should go talk to him. So she goes and she talks to this guy. Turns out he was just passing through to get a burger. He lives 3 hours away. He's never even been to that bar. And the next day was his wife's birthday.